did it feel to get back in the ring last weekend?
Oh, like I said, that was just a fun experience with a little exhibition with Eric Morales. It's a fundraiser. Some people were actually thinking it was going to be a real fight or something. It's not. It was a fundraiser, a little sparring session. It was a friendly sparring session to raise funds for our boy Isaac. So that's all it was. But it was fun to be able to do that with him. So I gave a lot of thanks to Eric for actually being able to come down and volunteer his time for a great cause. And so we were happy to do it, and it turned out great. We had a great turnout. Some good moments there, some good laughs. That's all it is. And like I said, it's for a great cause.
I asked Spence the same question. Have you seen an increase in your profile since the Spence fight, and what has that been like?
I mean, I haven't noticed much different. I mean, I've always been the same.
47,000 people with that.
We had a great turnout. We had a great turnout there, and I'm sure we're going to continue to have great fights, great turnouts. We're excited to have that fight. It was a great experience. Now that we're looking for the next fight, that's all it is. We got to keep moving forward.
Mikey, you seem to kind of still have the weight. You have some good weight on you still.
Well, I did go to the snack again. ¿Dónde está el ballet? Ballet? Hey, go get the ticket. I went up to snack just we were there for 4.5 weeks, 5 weeks to continue and get that work in, and I still have I wanted to build some muscle just to keep that weight there in case I decided to fight at 47. If the right fight was available, that I didn't have problems again feeling sluggish and slow. So I want to make sure I can keep the speed. Just couldn't do it on fight night. Everything else was doing well. I was doing fine every other night except for fight. It just wasn't me. That's it.
You don't feel that welterweight was maybe just a little too big?
I think what happened. It's not the size really of the opponent. It was just me, the size in me on fight night. I mean, I had never stepped inside of the ring at 152, 154. I was always weighing in around 45 for on fight nights. This time I'm at 54 on fight night. I think those 10 pounds actually did affect me. So that's why I want to make sure that I can perform at that weight. And that's why we've kept the workouts. We've kept working on the body, on the size. We've been getting some work in, some sparring just to stay in shape. We still don't know. Like I said, I don't know where I'm gonna fight at 40, 47. I'm available to fight anybody, 40, 47. So we'll make that decision later, and we'll see what happens. But we're just staying in shape.
Is 135 for sure in the rear view now, or?
Well, if I do 140 first and then make my way down to 35, that's a possibility. But I just won't be able to do that on my first one. And the reason why we vacated the title, like I mentioned before, I was supposed to fight the mandatory. And I wasn't interested in defending that mandatory, especially not after fighting at 47, coming all the way down to 35, which is not an option for me. So we needed to vacate the title. There was no reason, to hold on to a title, pretend like I'm gonna be there if I'm not. They had already granted me permission to fight at 47, and now they needed, to defend the title at 35, and I just wasn't available.
Is it safe to say that I feel like if it's not a named fighter, Mikey Garcia's name is not going to be next to him?
Well, I mean, it could be. We could fight other guys, and I'm pretty sure I could do it if I wanted to. But if it's not attractive enough for me, then it's not that. I want to make sure that the fans get their money's worth and get fights that they are asking for. And if I fight, a top contender, but that's still fairly unknown, the fans don't like that. The fans will start clamoring and calling for other names, and I just don't feel right doing that. I think I've shown the fans that I'm willing to fight anybody, and I want to fight champions. I want to fight the best, and that's what I'm looking for. So it's not always easy to get a hold of certain names that the fans would want to see, but I work on getting those fights. I'm trying to get some fights for the fans, and if there's a good opponent, a good contender that starts developing and doing well, then we definitely consider him as well.
I feel like the fans would give you a pass, man, on the next one if you know what I mean.
I mean, it could happen. Every once in a while, the great champions take tune-up fights, but I don't feel like doing that.
140.
I mean, it could happen. I mean, you never know. If all the champions are taken already, then what am I supposed to do? So I'll fight somebody else. but I still want to have a top contender. I don't want to just fight, guys rated too low. I want to fight top guys.
140 is on the path for an undisputed champion.
Yeah.
Would that entice you if there was just one champion left at 140 between Hooker, Ramirez, Prograis, and Taylor?
Look, of course that would be a great opportunity to collect all the belts at one or two fights, but they already got their fights lined up. So like I said, all those champions are already lined up to fight each other. So there's no title fight available for me right now. So if I decided to fight at 40, it would have to be against another contender because the title fights are not available yet. But if that fight was against one of the champions or against the winner of the tournament and that was presented, then I would definitely look into that more because I would have an opportunity to win, championship fights, multiple titles at once and claim, supremacy. I mean, that's what every fighter would like to do. And, I look forward to something like that. We just don't know if it'll happen right now.
Is there anything you can share on the rumors as far as you facing Danny Garcia? I know nothing's official.
I mean, if you keep up with media, everybody spread out like if it was already a done deal, and it really wasn't. In fact, I actually texted the reporter who broke news, and I texted him exactly what agreement did I do, because I don't even know what you're talking about. What terms did I agree on? I don't even know, because maybe you know something I don't know. And that's exactly the truth. I had no terms, no agreement, no nothing. A few months back, it was brought up to my attention if I would be interested in a potential fight with Danny, if that's something that would interest me. Sure, it interests me, just like it interests me right now. But that was it. There was never any discussion along the dates or venues or network or anything like that. So I don't know where all the other rumors come from, but it happens sometimes in boxing, the media. It's all right. We'll look forward to working on something like that if it's available. Do
you feel like going forward it's necessary for you to fight on pay-per-view now that you kind of got introduced to that and we've seen you on pay-per-view?
It's not necessary, but if the right opponent's in front of me, I think it makes sense. Because also my opponents also are expecting a bigger payday just because they feel that, oh well, if Mikey just did a pay-per-view and he did so well, we should be getting paid so much. The network can only pay X amount guarantee. If anything after that budget, then you are forced to do pay-per-view. So it might lead to a pay-per-view for the right opponent. If it's not the right opponent and he's not trying to get overpaid, then we don't have to do pay-per-view. I mean, it's not something that's a necessary thing. But with the right opponents, I think pay-per-view makes sense because everybody is at that level now. If my opponent's at that level, then we could definitely probably push for pay-per-view if it makes better sense.
Last one for me, real quick. Is Eddie Hearn still trying to sign you? Is Eddie Hearn still trying to sign you?
He's always reaching out once in a while. We've had a few conversations. He's never proposed an official offer like that. He's thrown out some figures regarding potential fights just to compare and see if I'm able to go in that direction. I mean, all I did is I tell him, look, if I'm still saying no, if I'm not taking your deal, then you know what I'm doing. Without me telling you the numbers that I'm making, I'll tell you, in a different way. I got something good going on over here. So that's all it is. But, I mean, he's a cool guy. The times that I've met with him and talked to him, very straightforward, down to business, tells me exactly what he feels is good and what I should be able to do. But there's never been that official offer for multiple fight or anything like that. It's just conversations.
Jose Ramirez, he wins all the belts at 140. Would you fight him or no?
I think I'm asking him to vacate some belts from me.
We
wouldn't fight each other. We wouldn't fight each other.
Of course not. And then
I would just ask him, hey bro, please vacate one of them belts. vacate one of the belts so I can pick one up. Nah, I mean, as long as he's in the team, we would never fight each other. Other occasions already have happened where we have multiple champions in the same division, in the same gym, and we just don't fight each other. Lovano was champion when I was a contender. I didn't go after his title. Then it was me and Mexican Gradovic, Mexican Russian, Nonito and Cuellar, but we were on the same gym, so we were never gonna fight each other. So I mean, it's just we're family once we're in the gym. If he leaves the gym or if one of the fighters leaves the gym, that's a different story. But as long as we're together in the same gym, no, we wouldn't.
Mikey, I'm sure you've talked about this a bunch, but what was your reaction, man, when Andy Ruiz won the heavyweight championship?
I was the only one jumping up and down. I was the only one cheering for him, man. Everybody around me was all sad and all bummed out about Joshua getting stopped, but I was the only one cheering for my boy. You know, I went out. You know, he's a great guy. You know, I met him years. You know, when we were still both at Top Rank. So, quiet guy, very very cool guy, humble. His dad, you know, I met him there. And so it was nice to be able to surprise the world like that. His life turned, you know, a full 360 and shot straight to the top, and that's amazing. You know, well deserved for him. It was a terrific night. It was a great fight, and coming from a knockdown makes it even bigger for him. So I was very happy for him. I saw him in the back again.
What was that you said to him before he got into the ring?
See, he was in the locker room, and some reporters were there, and they asked him, you know, how does it feel to fight at Madison Square Garden? And he says, well, I'm very excited. You know, I'm a little nervous. It's my first time at Madison Square Garden. It's my first time in New York, period. And oh my God, it's the first time with this big event. And I kind of butted in. I'm like, hey, bro, you gotta relax. You gotta know that inside that ring, it's the same 4 ropes and the same 4 corners. Different guy, but you've already done this all your life. You know what it takes. You've been in the gym. You've trained for this specific night. You just gotta get in there and execute. Forget about what the media says. Forget about what the promotion says. Forget about what the odds and the critics. Forget about that. You know what you got to do, and you can definitely do it. You know, you believe in yourself, you can do it. You got the power, you got the hand speed to do it. He's vulnerable. On paper, he looks like to be like the better fighter, the height, the reach, a little more polished, all the titles, accolades. But he's vulnerable. People forget that every time he gets in exchanges, he gets caught. He's been dropped. He's been hurt. And if others have hurt him, you can't do it. Of course you can. You just got to do it. And so, I mean, I don't know if that might have lifted his spirit up a little bit or not, but that's all I told him. And